Kiev, if you're living in Ukraine, and you see that there is an attack on your territory, it is not an effort to kill you and wipe you out. It is an effort to control that territory. I'm just creating a distinction between sort of your life versus control of your territory. There, you as somebody who does what you do, you're professing humanity. We're just talking about humanity, and humanity is that one common thing that when we really scuba dive and go down, that's one common thing we feel is humanity. But there, you're in conflict with nationality. Somewhere, this patriotism, nationality is coming in conflict with humanity. How does one even begin to resolve that? I mean, you can't really go to somebody who's got guns on the battlefield and say, "Listen, you're human," right? So, I mean, how do you begin to negotiate this as a way to solve a problem?
Yeah. Adda questions.
I promise you tough questions.
Anant's adda questions. The three letters that have been a bane to humanity have been EGO. And the example and context is Russia and Ukraine you're talking about. Go from the micro level to the macro level. Conflicts are all based on ego. Conflicts are all based on narcissistic self-interests. Conflicts are all based on one's definitions and ideas of how the world should function. My way or the highway. It's ego, it's narcissistic interests, is distorted ideologies that can create conflicts. We're talking about two nations here. Look at two individuals. A lot of times I feel we try to address macro issues. What if the macro was sorted? Micro is all going great? My question to everybody here and everybody who's watching, we sort out all the macro issues right? Everything's sorted, everything's peaceful, the wars end, everybody's doing everything right on the top, and everybody else in the countries and the world are all so sorted that on the micro level there's no conflicts, no disagreements, it's all peace, it's all love, it's all harmony, isn't it? Nobody teaches a hurricane how to destroy. Nobody teaches a cyclone how to sway things. Nobody teaches a tsunami how to wash things away. And nobody teaches a lady or a gentleman how to choose their life partner. Natural disasters just happen. I'm sorry. We're too much in the heat of some serious stuff here. Need to lighten the mood a little bit. Disasters are happening in relationships. Disasters are happening in business families. Conflicts are happening in business families. Conflicts are happening in individual lives. Conflicts are happening in religious communities. Conflicts are happening amongst nationalities. Where in the world do you not find conflict? Two dogs are fighting for territory. A dog goes and passes water on a pole, and if the other dog comes around there, Mera hai, tu nikal. He's barking. How can we deny the existential universal principle that defines the cosmos? Right? Which is precisely why, micro or macro, who's a good leader? A good leader, on whichever sphere. A good leader is a person who's willing to keep the ego aside for larger good. And I'm not talking about nations in particular, anywhere. How many of you realize that even in a personal family relationship, in order to keep things sober, settled, happy, peaceful, you have to say, Bhai, tera gadha aage, mera ghoda piche. How many of you have adjusted, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, thank you. How many of you have adjusted at your workplace to say, okay, we need to keep these people, adjust? Thank you. Good leadership is not being hell-bent on thinking one's own way, my way or highway, and not giving in to the false ego, right? Now, easier said than done. And these questions are like, they are very touchy questions as well, and it's like easier said than done on a global platform when it comes to the war scenario. So many lives are being taken. But if you observe carefully, if there is no training for leaders and leadership to deal with the egos and focus on a higher purpose, history will keep repeating itself again and again and again. Today it's this, tomorrow it's going to be something else. Do you think things will change? And which is precisely why we are looking at people who learn how to focus on higher principles and not just personal vested interests or personal ideologies and opinions. For that, one needs a spiritual bent of mind. One needs a spiritual perspective. Right? Can't just politically resolve things saying, okay, now we adjust the egos and we are all kind of fine and we settle things down. Which is why traditionally, historically, where there were spiritual principles that we were focused on, one could keep the ego aside. If not, it kind of keeps going. The other way to do things is, of course, for people to come together as a humanity, raise their voice and do something about it. But these, like I said, these questions are not easy ones to answer. In principle, however, conflicts spring out of the ego. And if the egos are not